Okay, today we're going to be doing lesson 1.8, which is on page 49 in your Go Math Volume 1 book, so make sure you're on that page. When you get there, please go ahead and put your name at the top of the page for your notes. Okay, today we're going to be talking about problem solving. Okay, so all throughout today, we are definitely going to be using cubes. So I want everyone to write cubes at the top of their page. Remember, you have what this stands for in your math notebook, like your second page, so this should help you. Just as a quick reminder, C stands for circling the important numbers. U is to underline the question. B, box keywords, help us solve. E is to write out your equation. And then S is to solve. Okay, and find your solution. Okay, and don't forget, when we read or through our story problems, we also need to read them 3 times each. Okay, so read 3 times. The first time, we just read it. The second time, we read it and we start using cubes, right? We circle, we underline, we box. And the third time, we can write our equation and begin to solve. Okay? So let's read this one our first time. This is on page 49. It says, hot air balloon festivals draw large crowds of people. The attendance on the first day of one festival was 17,350. On the second day, the attendance was 18,925. How many more people attended the hot air balloon festival on the second day? Okay, so I'm going to read it again. We're going to circle our numbers, underline our question, and box key information. Okay, you can also cross out information that is not important or that you don't need to solve the problem, so it's out of our way. Okay, so hot air balloon festivals draw large crowds of people. We don't need to know that solves this problem, so we can cross it out. Okay. The attendance on the first day of one festival was 17,350. It's an important number, so we circle it. On the second day, the attendance was 18,925. I could also go back and circle first day and second day because it helps me know what those numbers go with. Okay. How many more people, more is a key word. Not how many, that's a question word, it's not a keyword. Okay. But how many more people attended the hot air balloon festival on the second day? I'm going to circle second day. And that last sentence I just read is our question, so we need to underline what it's asking us. Okay, I'm going to look at those keywords also. How many more people attended the hot air balloon festival on the second day? What operation do you guys think? And if you guys notice, we know we're working with just addition and subtraction. If I ask how many more people, it's going to be addition or subtraction. We have to decide. Okay? Well, finding how many more, I don't need to add them together, but I know I'm going to be using subtraction. So I'm going to put a little minus sign next to it. Okay, let's read it a third time, and then we can start to write out our equation. Okay? But let's use this down here. So we're going to use this graphic organizer in the process. Okay? So this helps us to organize that problem into what we need. Alright? So first of all, what do I need to find? Well, what does our question tell us that we need to find? This is what we underlined. Okay? So I'm going to put a U here. That's what you underlined. Alright? So we need to find, we're going to write our question. How many more people attended, and we can shorten it. So how many more people attended the festival on the second day? I got rid of hot air balloons. We know that's the festival we're talking about. Okay? So what do I need to find? Next, we go back through. What information do we need to use? Okay. Well, we're going to use the information that we circled. So I'm going to put a C here. It's what you circled. Okay. So how many people attended on the first day? I can go back up. The first day, 17,350. And on the second day, we had 18,925. Okay. How will I use this information? What strategy will we use? Well, that's where we get our information from our B. Our keywords help us out here. Right? We said the word more tells us we need to subtract. Okay? So you can say we will subtract day 2 from day 1, or whoops, they're on. We're going to subtract day 1, sorry, from day 2, because day 2 is the bigger number, to find the difference. And difference, that's another keyword. That also tells us we are going to subtract. Okay, then at the bottom we're ready to solve the problem and do our equation. Okay, so E and S is the step. So equation and solve. Alright. Okay, so we can draw a bar model. They drew a bar model for us. So we have 18,925. This is day 2. And then we also draw our 17,350. Well, that was day 1. Notice this is smaller, right? We know how many more. So this is the difference. Right? We have to subtract to find how much that represents. Okay? So they've written out our subtraction problem over here, but as we talked last week, we can't do our subtraction sideways. So we need to write it up and down. So you have this extra space. Okay, so let's rewrite it. Make sure we line up our places. 18,925 minus 17,350. Okay. 5 minus 0 is 5. 2 minus 5 we cannot do, so we go next door to the 2, knock on the door, borrow from the 8, or sorry, this 9, it becomes an 8. 2 becomes a 12. Now I can do 12 minus 5. We get 7. 8 minus 3 is 5. 8 minus 7 is 1. And 1 minus 1 is 0, which we don't have to fill in because it's our last number. Make sure your comma, 1, 2, 3 at our comma. So, what is our difference? It should be 1,575. So we can write our answer over here as well. Okay. So for answer then, so how many more people attended the festival on the second day? There was 1,575 more people on second day. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and flip the page. We're going to try this again on the back side. Okay. They don't have as many blanks here for us, so we have to fill in a little bit more. It's a little less guided. Okay. Here's our problem at the top. Just a reminder, we are going to use cubes. So you write cubes at the top. And we see, let's focus a little more. We see it's a story problem, so we know we are going to read 3 times. I always want you guys to write that above it. Okay? So here's our story problem. So first time we read it, we just read. Okay? It says, during an event, a hot air balloon traveled a distance of 5,110 feet during the first trip and 850 feet more during the second trip. How far did it travel during the second trip? Okay. We're going to read it again. We're going to mark it up using cubes. We're going to circle our numbers, underline our question, box our keywords, then we'll get to our equation and solve. Okay. During an event, a hot air balloon traveled a distance of, here's the number, 5,110 feet. During the first trip, we can circle that, and 850 feet, there's another number, more during the second trip. Okay, because we have the word more and I have the word and right before it. And is also a keyword, so we're going to box both of those. Okay. During the second trip, we forgot to circle that one. How far did it travel during the second trip? There's our question, so we need to underline it. And it's talking about the second trip, so we need to circle it. Okay. Let's organize the information down here. Okay, if you remember, what do I need to find? That is where we underlined our questions. That's a U. What information do I need to use? That's what we circled. And how I'll use this information? That's our B. And then solving the problem down below. Again, that's our E and our S. Okay. So what do I need to find? Well, what's our question say? How far did the balloon, right, the hot air balloon, travel during the second trip? So we can add that in. So how far? So if I just say it, I might not know, right? So how far did the hot air balloon travel during the second trip? Okay. Well, what information do I need to use? So that's what we circled, right? We know the first trip. So that equals, it was 5,110 feet. Right. And we know the second trip was 850 feet more than the first. Oops, I forgot the E on the word more. There we go. More than the first. And then we go to our B, keywords we boxed. Well, we boxed more and the word and. Okay. On our last story problem, we used the word more, and we knew it was subtraction. But when I have the word and, right, we have to know we're talking about 5,100 feet and 850 feet more. What do you guys think this time? Yeah, it has the word and in there with more. So this is going to be adding. Okay, so more is a keyword that could mean subtraction or addition. We just have to make sure we look at the context of it. Okay, so how we'll use this? We will add the distance of, right, 850 more, 850 feet to the first trip of 5,110 feet. Okay. So if I were to draw a model, like on our front, right? First trip, if I draw our box here, was 5,110 feet. Okay. And we know our next trip was 850 feet more. I want to know, what is my total? Right? What is the total for the trip? So by here, we're going to add. So we need to take 5,110 plus 850. Okay. We can go ahead and add. Make sure your place values are lined up. Okay. 0 and 0 is 0. 1 and 5 is 6. 1 and 8 is 9. And then we have 5. So the second trip is 5,960 feet. Okay? That's how we used our cubes to solve that problem. Okay, we're going to do one more problem together. So slide on over to the next page, on page 51. We're going to do a few more on this page here. Okay. So number 1 is another hot air balloons. That's our theme for the day. Okay. Again, to solve, just as a reminder, you can put your name up here as well. Okay. We are going to use cubes. So I'm going to write cubes. And every story problem we need to read 3 times. Okay. I just can't see where I wrote cubes. There we go. Okay, again, the first time we just read the problem. Okay. So number 1, hot air balloons are able to fly at very high altitudes. A world record height of 64,997 feet was set in... sorry, I lost my spot. Okay. Let me restart this problem, guys. Sorry. Asilo is here. I need to see me. Okay. So hot air balloons are able to fly at very high altitudes. A world record height of 64,997 feet was set in 1988. In 2005, a new record of 68,986 feet was set. How many feet higher was the 2005 record than the 1988 record? Okay. Reading it through a second time, we can start to circle our important numbers, underline our question, and box our keywords. Okay. And also we can cross out information we don't need. It's not important to the story. So hot air balloons are able to fly at very high altitudes. And we don't need that sentence as backstory, but we don't need it to help us solve the problem. Oops. This purple pen isn't working as well. Let's cross those out. Okay. A world record height of, here's the number, 64,997 feet was set in 1988. We need to know the year. In 2005, a new record of 68,986 feet was set. How many feet higher? Ooh, there's a good question. Higher is the key word. This is part of our question. How many feet higher was the 2005 record than the 1988 record? Okay, higher. Than is another key word. Let's go ahead and box that one. And our 2 numbers in our question, we have to compare the year of 2005 record to 1988 record. Okay. Okay. So now that we've boxed information, we're going to read it one more time, and we're going to use it to help us write our equation and to solve. Okay. So a world record height of 64,997 feet was set in 1988. Okay. In 2005, a new record, so if we know 2005 is a new record of 68,986 feet, that's the bigger number, so we're going to put in our bigger box. Okay, this was in the year 2005, and the record became 68,986. If we go back to 1988, the record was 64,997. Okay. How many feet higher was the 2005 record than the 1988 record? Okay, so higher than tells us we are going to be subtracting. Okay, so we're going to kind of draw this to help us solve. Okay, and we know this is what we need to find. What is the difference? Okay, so next we need to write the problem we're going to solve. So let's write our problem. If we know subtracting, it's going to be 68,986 minus 64,997. Okay? And what it tells us last, we need to solve. Do we solve subtraction this way? No. So let's come over to our empty space. We take 68,986 minus 64,000, being sure to line up our places, 64,997. Okay? I cannot take 6 minus 7, so the 6 needs to go next door to the 8, knock on their door to borrow. The 8 becomes a 7, 6 becomes 16. 16 minus 7 is 9. I cannot take 7 minus 9, so 7 goes next door. Knock on the door, we borrow from the 9. 9 becomes 8. 7 now becomes 17. 17 minus 9 is 8. 8 minus 9 we cannot do. So 8 goes next door, knock on the door, we borrow. 8 becomes 7. And this 8 becomes 18. 18 minus 9 is 9. 7 minus 4 we can do. 7 minus 4 is 3. And 6 minus 6 is 0. And we count over, we add our comma. Our answer is 3,989. So I can fill it in here. Oops, 989. We can fill it in as our answer up here as well. So 3,989 feet. So it broke the record by almost, right? We could round that up and say almost 4,000 feet. But it broke the record by 3,989 feet. Okay. Good. We're going to do number 2 with this because it uses the same information. It's continuing on. So it's like if you had a part A and part B on a quiz. Okay. So number 2 tells us, what if a new world altitude record of 70,000 feet was set? Right? So 70,000 feet. I'm going to circle it because it's an important number. How many feet higher would the new record be than the 2005 record? Okay. So how many feet higher? It's a keyword. Than was our other keyword. Okay, we can underline that question. That's what we need to find. Okay. Well, can we use the information from up here to help us? Absolutely. Okay. If our new record, we know higher than, let's go here, higher than tells us we need to subtract. Okay. If our current record then is 70,000 and the 2005 record, look up here, is 68,986, we need to subtract those numbers. Okay. So again, I'm going to show our work over here. We have 70,000, maybe, looking at my pen. Minus our 68,986. Okay. We cannot take 0 minus 6. I'm using this in our problem a little bit more. Yeah. Okay. We cannot take 0 minus 6, so we go next door. It's a 0. We still can't borrow. So we go next door again. It's another 0 we can't borrow. Next door again is another 0 we still can't borrow. All the way to our 7. Okay, so here's where we have a lot of borrowing when we have all these zeros. Okay. So we're going to borrow from the 7, becomes a 6. That makes our 0 a 10. Alright. But I'm going to borrow from the 10 to keep it moving over. Now it becomes a 9. And this 0 becomes 10. Still not where I need it. So this 10 becomes a 9. This 0 becomes a 10. We still need it over here, so if we move one more time, borrow from the 10, it becomes a 9, and this 0 becomes a 10. Okay? So lots of borrowing to get it where we needed. Okay? So now let's subtract. What's 10 minus 6? Should be 4. 9 minus 8 is 1. 9 minus 9 is 0. 9 minus 8 is 1. And 6 minus 6 is 0. We count over 3, add our comma. How many feet higher is the new record than the 2005 record? It's right here. 1,014 feet higher. So 1,014 feet. Okay. So we didn't draw a picture to go with that one, but you could also draw your model. Alright, just like we did up here. Okay. So we've done lots of different practice. We've seen it with the whole graphic organizer with all details filled in. We did one with a little less there. Then we brought it here where we didn't use the graphic organizer, but we still did what we needed to. We drew a model, we wrote out our problem, and we solved. Okay. And then here we kind of just drew a problem to solve. Alright. Go ahead and flip on over to page 53. This is going to be your homework page, so please go ahead and put your name at the top. If you're in my homeroom, please include your number. If you're not in my homeroom, you don't need to, but if you're in my homeroom, add your number. Okay, you're going to use the same table for all 3 of these problems. Okay, when I say all 3, it's really only 2 of them, because number 1, they've already completed for you. So number 1, they've given you the question. Okay, stop. You need to use cubes. It's required. So everybody write cubes on top of their paper. And you need to make sure you are reading 3 times. 3 times each. Okay? Okay. So they've already solved number 1 for you, so you can look at this as an example, alright? I don't want anyone tearing this page out of your math notebook until I collect it for homework tomorrow. I want you to leave it in your math book so you have our notes, okay? They're all in your book. Do not tear this out of your math book. Leave it in, okay? Again, number 1 is done for you. Look at what they did, alright? Now, they don't show their work of this up and down. I do expect you to write it up and down, okay? So on page 53, you're going to do number 2 and still use this information. Okay, I expect you to solve. I'll leave it up to you if you want to draw the model, but I do expect an equation and I expect you to write it up and down. Okay. You're also going to do number 3 using the same information. Okay. Cross out number 4. We're not going to do number 4 tonight. So just 2 and 3 on the front, 2 problems. Okay. Flip it on over to the back side, page 54. This one does want you to draw a model to help you. Okay, they both do. I'm going to have you do numbers 1 and 2. Okay. You guys can do number 3. That's an easy review. This is another story problem. You guys are already doing 4, so I want you guys to go ahead and skip this one because you're already doing 4 story problems. Okay, so skip number 4. Number 5, just a quick rounding problem. You guys can do that. And we'll skip number 6 as well. Okay, so you only have 4 problems on the back and 2 on the front. You have a total of 6 problems for homework tonight. Okay, this is due Wednesday morning. On your planning sheets, you need to write page 53, numbers 2 and 3, and then page 54, 1, 2, 3, and 5. Okay. Don't forget your mystery number is also due tomorrow. Mystery numbers 1, 2, and 3 are due tomorrow morning. Okay. And tomorrow you will have a quiz, just a quick quiz, over adding, subtracting, and addition, subtraction story problems. Okay, so please make sure you're getting this done for practice. Okay? Okay. You can rewatch this video on Google Classroom as many times as needed to go back as well, or if you need it for homework. Otherwise, you guys have the rest of class time to do your homework.